Beavers, wildfires, global warming, my theory. Okay, here we are at the old Beaver Dam, and we're in Pitpolder, British Columbia, Canada, and you can find probably hundreds of these in the area, and there used to be probably thousands in the area. And let me give you my theory about beaver dams and global warming and the wildfire situation. Okay, there used to be, prior to Hudson Bay Company in Canada and major trappers and hunters in the United States, there used to be about 60 million beaver dams in North America. So 60 million, okay. And each beaver dam has approximately, has one beaver male, one beaver female. And I'm not trying to be sexist or anything, but that's the way it was for mating purposes. And then they'd often have 2 or more children. So if you had 60 million beaver dams, you had probably many more beavers. But let's say currently there are only 5 million beavers. And so I would say less than that, maybe 1.5 million beaver dams. So we've lost over 90% of our beavers and beaver dams. Now, what do the beavers do? They build this dam like behind me. They can be from several meters or yards long to, I think one of the largest was like half a mile long. And they dam off usually a section of flowing water, such as a creek or a river, and produce a lake behind it, or a pond, beaver pond it's called, and that can be very large. And the beaver dam itself can be up to 10 feet high. The beaver size are approximately 5 foot for the body in a large one, and then a couple feet for the tail. So they're very large. And the last beaver I saw on the Fraser River swimming towards me, I was on the Haney Wharf, and I actually thought it was a bear swimming towards me until it got near me and I could see the shape of the beaver. And the most distinguishing fact is the broad, long tail of the beaver, which it can slap and make quite a sound with to warn other beavers. Anyway, so my story goes, we're down to 1.5 million beavers in North America. We used to be at least 60 million. The dams are down to 5 million or less, probably 1.5 million dams left. Like this one behind me has been dismantled because someone thought that it was a disruption of the farming situation of the environment, because probably it was going to flood onto the road here, which I'm parked right beside the road, and they didn't want that. As you can see, or maybe not see at this point, but behind the beaver dam there's kind of a berm, which behind that the water's approximately 8 feet higher than it is right here. So this is kind of a creek or drainage ditch with peat bog water, which eventually flows into the Pitt River and then into the Fraser River and then into the ocean. So this here is fresh water, and in fact I've proved it's actually tidal. And this does connect with Addison Slough, which is also tidal. And but that's another story, and I have videos on that. Now what the beaver does is build this dam. It raises the water level. It raises the water table by at least 6 feet, maybe even 8 feet. for an extended area because this land behind is flat. And so what it does is it irrigates or puts water into the water table and allows more plants, etc., to grow. In some cases, that's good for the farmer. If it's arable land and he's plowing it and it gets more irrigation and water, then that is good for the farmer. But in many cases, he doesn't like the floods, so he doesn't like the beavers, and that's why they take down the beaver dams such as this one. So anyway, back to my story. 60 million beavers and beaver dams down to 1.5 million beavers and beaver dam. That's a loss of well over 90% of the beavers and beaver dams. And so also with that, the flooding and the preservation of the water, conservation of the water in this area or in all areas of North America. Now I estimate the range of the beaver dam that gets flooded and irrigated and increases the humidity is between 50 and 500 acres. Now, if you look at the whole of North America, is 6 billion acres of land, North America. Okay, of that, arable land is 600 million acres, so approximately 1 in 10 acres in North America can be used to grow things such as this land here. You know, if you wanted to, if it wasn't a conservation area, could be probably turned into farmland to grow at least cranberries and blueberries and other types of crops, grass, graze some cattle, etc. So anyway, that's arable land, 600 million acres. And so if you think about that, divide that by the number of beavers that there used to be, and the beavers back 200-300 years ago could easily maintain all of that arable land with irrigation, fresh water, flooding backed up into the area to keep it moist, keep the plants alive. And this was, I think, a very, very good thing. There weren't that many forest fires or free-range fires. Droughts did not occur as far as I know. Maybe there were some, but if they were minor. Not compared to the droughts and the wildfires that we have these days. Now, just in the last few years, the number and range and percentage burned of wildfires has apparently doubled. And that's just in a few years. Now you can imagine over 200-300 years since the beaver population has gone down, what's happened there. So anyway, my theory is that, and again, it's a theory, it's not based on anything other than my minor math calculations that I've given you. But my theory is that the loss of the beavers and loss of beaver dam, loss of beaver flooding, the arable land, which is the 600 million acres of arable land, which used to be flooded by the 60 million beavers and beavers dams, is now gone. It's now down to estimation of 1.5 million. So that's a loss of well over 90%. And because of that, there are droughts now. There's deserts that are formed that used to be well irrigated by beaver flooding, beaver dam. Now this area still exists because it's a conservation area. But if you go up the street here several miles, it's all used to be the bog, used to be Pit Polder Bog, and that was all drained, dammed, diked, and drained so that it could be turned into a farm, and is now all cranberries and blueberries mainly, and some grass, for grazing and cutting, but mainly blueberries, cranberries. But in the summer that all goes dry. There's no beavers producing dams there that I know of, or I haven't seen any, and I believe they get rid of them so that it doesn't cause major flooding. Again, I believe this dam was torn down and piled up on the side there behind me because it would have probably flooded the road here, and that wouldn't have been good. Even though this is a conservation area, I don't know who gave permission or whatever to destroy this beaver dam, but it's been done. I believe probably the beavers are alive, as I pointed out before. There's lots of beaver tunnels and beaver habitat, beaver openings that are still present and look like they're used. There's also the beaver slide, 2 of them that I showed you a few minutes ago, and there's also beaver trails for hauling the cut timber, logs, saplings, twigs, etc. down to the dam here. Now the dam provides blockage of the water with the flooding, which produces a lake, which the beavers use to protect themselves, and also provides food and water, obviously, for the beaver and their family. The beaver doesn't actually live in the beaver dam. The beaver lives over where I showed you in those holes, and he'll have tunnels in the bank over there and burrows inside there, so any predators come along, he can scurry into the burrows with his family and be protected. Anyway, that's about beavers. But again, my theory, destruction of beavers, beaver habitat, beaver dams, over 90% in the last several hundred years, from 60 million down to 1.5 million, I believe is potentially causing the droughts that we have, the lack of irrigatable land, the wildfires, the forest fires, and all of this leads to the droughts, leads to lack of water conservation, leads to all of this water flowing out to the ocean and not being conserved like the beavers used to do. As is evident here, the water table drops at least 6 feet, maybe 8 feet from when the beavers had their dam here. And in turn, that has led to possibly, or probably, as my theory goes, increased global warming. So, man-made global warming, okay, maybe. Some of it may be due to man, but also due to man in the fact that the beavers and beaver dams have been basically decimated throughout North America. And I could go through the same story with Europe and probably Asia, where there are also beavers as well. But seeing I live here and do my videos here, that's what I'm documenting, is the North American beaver. Anyway, a large rodent. It is a rodent, and it is large, it's huge as far as the ones I've seen. Bigger than I am, I believe, and probably not weighing as much, but they're vegetarian. All they eat is bark and twigs and things, so that's their excuse. Anyway, okay, let me know how you like my theory, and have a good life. Be safe. Support the beavers. Please don't kill the beavers. Very cruel. Trapping beavers, I think, is extremely cruel and unusual punishment. Okay, have a good life. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your kind support over the years, and talk to you soon. This is the dismantled beaver dam, no longer conserving our environment. Beaver Dam, acid bog water, waterway, Beaver Trail, Beaver Slide, Beaver Home, Beaver Tunnels, burrows along there. Nice beaver tunnel there. Now these beaver tunnels, I'd say they're 3-4 feet high plus what's in the water, and then a couple feet wide, big enough to fit a large beaver, which can be, I believe, about 5 feet long and a tail of about 2 feet at least. Hey, this is in Pit Polder again. This is the #1 beaver dam. This is a beaver tunnel and slide. Here's another beaver tunnel, but this would normally be underwater to enter the beaver's lodge, but as the dam is deconstructed, obviously that doesn't exist now. The beaver slide, beaver tunnel, beaver footprints on the bank there. You can see it where it's stepped on the slide. There's more beaver footprints with the little arrow going to the footprints. Here's a beaver tunnel to the lodge. Again, this would normally be underwater if the area was flooded by the dam. Beaver tunnel will normally be underwater as stated here. There's a beaver slide and a pathway with footprints visible. This is where the beaver will go up and down and bring trees to the water. Beaver tunnels, waterway, and pathway. Another beaver waterway with, you can see, little exits, side exits going up the hill. Here's a beaver tree fall with several trees that have been gnawed off and are sharp from the beaver's teeth. Here's beaver dam remnants after its deconstruction. Beaver dam construction materials evident here with the mud and twigs and saplings. There's a beaver chewed sapling. You can see very sharp teeth, and it's almost like cutting it with an axe. Here's another beaver chewed sapling. You can see how the teeth have whittled it down. Here's tea-colored acid peat bog water, and I measured this today at pH 6.2, which is acidic. Here's a beaver sign that beaver's been gnawing. Okay, this is tree. Maybe 20-30 feet from the beaver dam, and here is part of its home. Right in here is a tunnel which goes in. The tunnel's still in good shape, so I believe the beavers are still living in there. And actually I saw one a few minutes ago, but mainly heard it. It was too far away to actually film. So this is actually part of the beaver's home. The beaver will have many tunnels. This is one of them, entranceway, and you can see it's covered by shrubs and would have been covered by branches as well to keep predators out. And then right over here a little further, you can see that there's a beaver slide and a beaver trail where they'd haul the branches down and go up and down into the brush here to gather materials for their beaver lodge. Okay, here's more of the dismantled beaver dam. Here's they've taken shovel, and what I mean is a big mechanical power shovel, put a load of mud and twigs right here so you can see what it's made out of, and you can see each of the twigs has been chewed by beaver teeth. And then over on this side again, we have the actual remains of the beaver dam piled up on the opposite shore there, quite a big pile of branches. And then right in here, you can see the sticks where the beaver dam was, but it's been taken down to the water level, so it's not flooding this area. And you can see the water is very brown, like dark tea. Yes, I'm right on the road here. This is right beside the road, so easy to get to. And easy to spot, easy for anyone to see. Anyway, the water is dark tea colored, so it's nice acid bog materials, got lots of decaying matter in it. And another vehicle, sorry, and I checked the pH is 6.2, so it is quite acidic for fresh water. So this is actually a freshwater bog, peat bog. So there's a lot of peat seeping into this. The water from peat, which looks like tea, seeping into this. And would be better probably with the Beaver Dam. Now I notice this is a conservation area, so why this Beaver Dam's been dismantled, I'm not exactly sure. I am at a beaver dam that has been dismantled. I believe somebody who's trying to keep the water levels low has taken it down, but there's the old beaver dam here, and you can see it was quite large, and then it used to cross this waterway here. And over here there's several beaver passageways, and there are beaver tunnels and homes all along here. There's more right here and over here. So anyway, right there is a beaver pathway, a beaver trail right here, and this thing right here is a beaver slide. So that's where the beavers would slide down into the water from the land up above there, and also bring trees and that down into here to build their beaver dam. So anyway, somebody's taken a backhoe or a shovel and dismantled the dam, put it up on the bank there, but it looks like most of the pieces, the wood architecture is still there, the mud that was used. And okay, I will show you a little closer in a minute. Here is a close-up of the architecture, all materials of the beaver dam construction, mainly mud and twigs and branches that the beaver has cut down. Now, I will let you enjoy some quiet time with beaver meditation here for the next several minutes, just peaceful views of Beaver Dam. And a little more peaceful meditation with the Beaver Dam in the distance there, and the water's elevated approximately 5 to 6 feet due to the damming of the water, and that raises the elevation of the water table that many feet. This is allegedly conservation land, so the Beaver Dam should be allowed to stay, but as I noted on the opposite side of the road, that the Beaver Dam has been deconstructed. So enjoy the next few minutes. Okay, all of the information for this theory has come from Google, Wikipedia, and here's Google Earth with views from space of the Beaver Dam on the left lower part of the view. And here's a representation with the little yellow arrows pointing to Beaver Dam number 1, and it shows the extensive 50 to 500 acre use of the water table elevation to conserve the land. Here's another Google view from space showing Beaver Dam number 1 and Beaver Dam number 2. Once again, thank you for all your kind support, and especially over the last 40 plus years, 45 years, I appreciate it a lot. And again, I am board certified in several specialties: forensic examiner, forensic medicine, board certified emergency medicine, and medical toxicology. And I wish, if you would like to subscribe to my free channel, press on the caricature below. And again, I'm Dr. Gary Ordog, main specialty emergency medicine, and yes, I did work in this area when I was a kid, and that's me.